So a couple years ago, I had a roommate that he was let go from his job. They gave him a good severance package, and he was actually really excited because he wanted to start a business. And he actually had a really cool idea for his business. He wanted to start like a white labeled sock company. So he would buy the socks and then like put his own brand on them. And then he was going to use a lot of the proceeds from the socks he was selling towards charitable causes, like going to Africa and building wells or something like that. So I was super excited for his business, and I ended up moving out of where I was living, moved to London for 6 months. And when I came home, I went to visit my old roommates and I was like, dude, how did your business go? Like, what's the latest? And he's like, well, I gave up because I don't know how to do graphic design. And I need to learn how to do graphic design in order to, make the website look good. And I just don't want to learn graphic design. Like, it's just not worth my time, so I'm not going to do it. I didn't have the heart to be like, hey, look, you could just hire somebody to do all the graphic design for you. And I think I probably should have told him that at that point. But the reason I share that story with you guys is because there's so many people that think they have to do everything themselves. And this story and the purpose of this video actually really reminded me of one of my favorite books, The 4 Hour Work Week. I took off the dust cover there, but you can see kind of the back there. And I want to read a part from The 4 Hour Work Week to you that actually really changed my life. So Tim Ferriss says, there are 1,000,001 ways to make $1 million. From franchising to freelance consulting, the list is endless. Fortunately, most of them are unsuited to our purpose. This chapter is not for people who want to run businesses, but for those who want to own businesses and spend no time on them. The response when I introduce this concept is more or less universal. People can't believe that most of the ultra successful companies in the world do not manufacture their own products, answer their own phones, ship their own products, or service their own customers. There are hundreds of companies that exist to pretend to work for someone else and handle these functions, providing rentable infrastructure to anyone who knows where to find them. Think Microsoft manufactures the Xbox 360 or that Kodak designs and distributes their digital cameras? Guess again. Flextronics, a Singapore-based engineering and manufacturing firm with locations in 30 countries and $15.3 billion annual revenue, does both. Most popular brands of mountain bikes in the US are all manufactured in the same 3 or 4 plants in China. Dozens of call centers press one button to answer calls for the JCPenney's of the world, another to answer calls for the Dell computers of the world, and yet another to answer calls for the new rich like me. And then he says this line, it's kind of iconic, it's all beautifully transparent and cheap. So obviously, I hope in this community, we're not quite as self-serving as Tim Ferriss sounds in this book. And our only purpose for starting a business isn't just to sit on the beach and do whatever we want. We actually want to learn and grow and help other companies when we start a marketing agency or any other type of business, if you're watching this. But there's a lot we can learn from flipping the script on what we think we know and thinking about things in a much different way. And this takes a long time to learn. I was just mentioning to my best friend the other day, I cannot figure out why it took me so long to figure out that I could outsource graphic design to somebody that's really, really good at it and just send him all the projects. Now you've got to find someone that's good and affordable, right? But that has been like an absolute game changer. I'm actually going to leave the email for my graphic designer below. I love sending him referrals because he's amazing. And you can just email him with any graphic design project you have and he should give you a really good price. So if it's not clear already, what I want to point out in this video is that as you're building your business, you have to get really good at outsourcing things that are not the main drivers. Getting sales calls, booking those sales calls into close clients, retaining clients, running the ads for your clients, and eventually those things can even be outsourced as well. But when you're starting out, the main drivers have to be on your plate and everything else should be outsourced. So graphic design, building a website, doing all this stuff, like you do not need to do it. You need to focus on the core main activities that are going to grow your business. And this also brings me to my next point, is that every excuse that you give yourself for not growing your business, like, oh, I don't know how to do graphic design. Oh, I don't know how to run this. I don't know how to do that. There is literally somebody that's been doing it for years that you can pay to do it for you. Let that sink in and you'll have no excuse not to grow your business. Now, if you have a lot more time than money and you don't feel comfortable outsourcing things, sure, you can learn stuff. But again, you should only focus on learning the highest value activity, getting money in the door, and then use that money that you just got in the door to outsource the tasks that are not important. Now, I want to give you a few examples of this that you might not have thought of or that you really need to start thinking about. Number one, a third-party logistics company. I didn't know these existed until I talked to my brother one time about like this shipping thing I was trying to figure out. He's like, oh yeah, there's all these companies that exist. Like they have the warehouse, you just hire them. They like package everything and basically they're like Amazon for your e-commerce business or whatever physical product you're selling online. So you don't have to do it in your own home. It's like, wow, that's so cool. I didn't know that existed. Another one is editors for YouTube. The minute I started outsourcing my editing for YouTube is the minute I was able to start start posting way more, that the editing's way better than what I could do. Like, it's just not worth my time to learn how to edit YouTube videos. I don't know why it took me so long to learn that. Another example I got from Sam Ovens is travel agents or travel agent type websites like Kayak or Priceline. These websites are really cool because they don't have to own an airplane, they don't have to own an airport, they don't have to have hostesses, or they don't have to employ flight attendants, they don't have to do anything except own a website, and they make commissions off of the sales they make there and the partnerships that they have with the airlines that have all the expensive equipment. I don't know about you, but I'd much rather run a website like Kayak than an airline and have to buy all that stuff. And then the last example I want to give you here is Apple. You think Apple manufactures all their own products? No, they outsource it to a company called Foxconn, which is in Taiwan, and they're the ones that actually make the iPhones and the computers and all that stuff that you pay for. Now, yes, they do the design in-house, but let's say they don't have somebody in-house that can do the part of the design that they want. Of course, they're just gonna find someone, hire them, pay them to do that thing, and then go from there. Apple is really cool because they've mastered branding and design, the two things that they know they're really, really good at, which help them increase their prices a ton. And then they just outsource the other stuff that they don't need. Like, really, really cool. So to close out on this video, what I'm trying to say is find what you're good at and outsource all the rest of it. One other funny thing that happens in Tim Ferriss's book is that this guy runs an experiment where he hires a couple of virtual assistants, and he has one of his assistants call Cricket Wireless, who was his cell phone provider at the time. And he said, it was really funny because I was thinking about my virtual assistant in India calling Cricket Wireless headquarters in New Jersey and then having that routed back to India. And the two virtual assistants are talking to each other. And he said something about that just made my heart smile. And it's examples like that that show that the world is changing so fast, and there's literally someone you can hire to do any task. You just have to know where to find them. And if you're wondering where to find them, freelancing websites are the best place to start. Upwork, Freelancer, Fiverr's okay, but Upwork and Freelancer are my favorites. So go check those out. And in the future, I'll make a video on how to hire the right person for a job. So stay tuned and subscribe for that one. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. I really hope it helps switch some things around in your head. Go outsource something today. That would make me happy, and let me know about it in the comments. Thanks guys, see you next time.